This is Lyrata Barrett for the Institute for Global Transformation, bringing to you today the bi-monthly happening every first and third Sunday of the month, self-mastery training via ageless wisdom teachings. Today, as we have been working over the last 5 sessions with the Lessons from the Soul and Its Instrument by Lucille Celia-Krantz. Today we will be moving into the 6th lesson, and this one I think will be closer to home because, hold on, let me kind of make this a little bigger for us. Yeah, is that better? Everybody see that? Is that good? Good, good, good. If anyone needs it bigger, let me know. Okay. It gets closer to home because here we previously have been dealing with the etheric body, the etheric network, the etheric envelope, as we say. And this time it's getting a little bit closer to home, the soul and its instrument as it relates to the astral body. And we'll be working with the astral body now for the next 3 lessons. And as this one states, this one we're talking about the astral body and the emotional nature, part 1. 3 attitudes which hinder growth: fear, attachment to phenomena, and refusal to recognize the astral plane, the astral body as the power factor of manifestation. And that it is. So, tomorrow is the day of the full moon. And that full moon will be happening tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time at 2:49 p.m. It is a super moon. The energy of it is extremely powerful. We can feel it. Many of us are able to feel it now as it continues to crest. So be aware of that in terms of what it is we are working with, how it's affecting our astral body, our emotional body, and our connection to it through also keeping in mind, never forgetting the etheric envelope or the etheric network, because it is through the etheric network that most of what we want is able to occur. Most of that which we seek. Even as to healing, if we can heal on the etheric first, depending on where the energies may lie, sometimes it lies on the mental body, sometimes it's definitely the etheric, sometimes it may be within the astral. But once we are able to locate what the issue is and where it's coming from, then we can go there through the etheric body and work to heal. So here this lesson begins. Let's read it together. We come now to that part of the instrument that has perplexed so many occultists, and of which there has been very little teaching projected. I'm speaking of the astral body and the emotional nature of humanity. Most of the teaching that has been given anent this aspect of the personality has been either misrepresented, misinterpreted, or totally confused. And this is true. Quite often, well, it's going to give us the reasons. Let's go into that. This has been due to several factors, among them an overall lack of understanding regarding the threefold personality and the lack of proper terminology with which to define it. The terms astral body and astral plane have been used to define any subtle body or plane, seen or sensed by the sensitives. The astral body has been confused for the mental body, the etheric body, the soul, angels or devas, saints, masters, what have you. Many of those who have partially grasped the truth have rejected the entire plane as total illusion and blithely gone their way, ignoring it. And this is true. There are many who teach about the astral body but know little, unfortunately. And as a result, there's a lot of, as it says, misrepresentation and misinterpretation and confusion as to what the astral body really is. I've had that experience too early on in my teachings. Um, to the point that I was so confused, I really didn't know how to work with, especially the astral plane. Hmm. It is only in the latter years of my life that became aware through teachings um, and excellent teachers that the astral body is a whole lot more than what we think. And I kind of referred to that in one of my past lessons, that the astral body is not simply about the emotional body. It is not simply about how we, while it is about how we act, how we react, there's so much more to the astral body than that. And we're going to touch on that in this teaching, in this lesson. Many times the teachings that are taught or given around the astral body cause us to fear it, as it says here, because we just do not understand what it's all about. Um, and then there are many, I know a few, who have very active connections to the astral plane and are very sensitive, keen to the astral body in and of itself. And as such, they're able to have what is called continuity of consciousness when they go to sleep, leave their bodies, travel, connect, bring back information, have all kinds of experiences. Um, and they're very comfortable in that realm. So there's a mixture, especially now. I would think that that is also happening now, as many of us are awakening. Many of us are waking up and are finding new aspects of life to contend with. So let's continue, and we'll talk about that as we go along. Today, those of us who teach find an appalling condition present within the consciousness of our students, one that is hindering the desired unfoldment of spiritual powers and knowledge. This condition is characterized by three attitudes that I shall explain as follows. One, fear of the astral plane, that renders the student incapable of dealing with this part of their nature or environment. This fear, which is the product of incorrect teaching, deliberate falsehoods, and centuries of superstition, results in an illusion so great as to blind the student to reality. They can reach no further for the truth because they are barred from it by their own fear. And this is a truth. And huh, really, we kind of get this all the way around. We get fear coming through the teachings, religious teachings. You know, we get fear coming through um, I would say especially a lot of religious teachings, regarding the old teachings in reference to um, the fundamental teachings, let's put it that way, in reference to if one is not good, then they're going to hell, the fire and brimstone type of teachings. I'm not saying that um, I'm not giving any opinion about them one way or the other, but I do sense and I'm aware of the fact that as we move into the Aquarian age, new teachings abound, and there's a consolidation that's going on with these new teachings that will see a different understanding, a more mature understanding, a more, what's the word? Yeah, mature understanding of the spiritual teachings and its purpose. Okay? Because truth be told, the Master Jesus, when on this planet, as I've said also before, came to teach that God is love, we are one, but that did not get conveyed, okay, at that time. And as a result, the master at that time is returning again as the savior of the planet, as the world savior of this particular planet in the new age as well as in the Piscean age to get that teaching right this time. Okay, so there will be new teachings coming forth based on the old. And never forget, and this is important, that we live in a second ray cosmos within a second ray solar system, which is all about love, wisdom. Love, wisdom. Our planet is a third ray planet using love, wisdom in intelligent, creative ways. So to get confused and stuck in form, variation, difference is to lose and simply just not recognize the ideal of love flowing through all things, everyone. That is what that world savior is here to teach again in this 2.0 of the Aquarian age. 2.0 love wisdom of the Aquarian age. How can this fear be conquered? We go on. By first realizing that you have nothing to fear except that which lies within yourself. How true is that? Nothing from without you can harm you. This may sound as if it were a statement in direct contradiction to fact, but if you will think deeply, you will grasp the concept that harm that appears to come from another individual or circumstance finds its point of origin within your own consciousness. So the teaching that is behind this is that which is outpicturing in our environment is in direct response to what's going on within us. Okay? So if you fear inwardly your environment, then in and of itself, one is creating their own boogeymen, so to speak, their own external monsters to greet them. If in fact we can look outside of ourselves and see other souls in connection to our soul, rather than, which means that we're coming from a place of oneness, of love, of unity, of integration, of union, then what we see and we create, what happens externally, will be a manifestation of that. If we are fearful and we see difference, then we're creating our own situations or issues that we'll have to deal with until we learn, until we evolve and learn that what we outpicture comes from within us. We create it ourselves. And the fears of this kind, entertained by most people, are stimulated by unhappy experience undergone upon the astral plane. For the sake of clarity, let us look into the nature of such experiences and their natural consequence. In Lesson 8 of Nature of the Soul series, I stated, the astral plane contains the aggregate of human emotion and has been called the world of illusion. For here, in form, are all of humanity's thoughts, concretized and made manifest. All of these thoughts live and have their separate existence on the astral plane. Little wonder it has been called the plane of illusion. Wise must be the consciousness who enters and works therein. This is so true. So true. Remember, we live within a collective field, a collective and mental and emotional environment. So all that the collective group, all of us, all of humanity, is thinking, fearing, experiencing, reacting to, politically, globally, in groups, families, individually, all of that is lives within the astral plane. And as a result, for those of us who do have the ability to navigate the astral plane during the dream time, I'm going to tell you, one has to be well versed in how to navigate that. Okay. Um, but here's major important point. If in fact we are able to use the energy of love, if we're coming from a place of understanding and feeling, experiencing, wanting to experience right relationship and goodwill with others, that changes the outcome. That changes energy. Love dissolves fear. Love dissolves fear or anything untoward. Okay. Um, and I would ask that you put that into your conscious mind, feel it in your emotional body, begin to work with it in your meditative moments, so that at any point in time in your life, whether waking or sleeping, that energy of love can come up, will come up. I have an experience that I can share with you, a recent one. I was dreaming that I was in a home in a particular room and was working with my hands. I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but I went to do something, and something actually invisible restricted my ability to move. Okay. And I went back to move again, and again, I could only go but so far. I felt a level of restriction. And I knew that there must have been some kind of energy within that particular room. And as I was taught early on in my spiritual development about clearing spaces and how to do that, I called in two of my friends to assist me in clearing the space. But as I did that, I must admit, there was a part of me that was feeling that what I had learned was part of the old way, and that there was a new way to be utilized that did not look out at whatever the energies may have been as other, okay? Or something that needed to be mm, cleared in the normal ways that things had been cleared before, that I had known how to clear things before. And I wasn't sure at the time, so I thought exactly what that way was, but apparently I was aware. And before my friends came, while they were there, they came into the room with me. And while they were there, I just decided to quietly do something on my own in the stream. And I energetically sent this en energy, may have been an entity, I sent it love from my heart. It was a blast of energy of love wherever this energy was and throughout the entire room. And as I did that, or after doing that, the energies that were preventing me from moving at the time completely dissolved, dissipated. Okay. And there was no need to do the other aspect of formulations that we had learned previously from past teachings. It had already been done without any major ceremonial pomp and circumstance. It was just done. Okay. Um, so that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being aware and that we have at our hmm, we have around us so much. Okay. We can always connect with automatically the divine, the highest form of the divine you know, be that whatever one wants to call it. Okay. One can also always connect with the energy of what is known as the superhuman, the aspect of the superhuman, or the aspect of the Christ. Okay. Um, and one can always connect with the energy of the Divine Mother. In doing that, one is automatically connected with the Trinity, the triangle, Trinity. Triangle is the power of it manifests anything that needs to be manifested, it manifests it. So by doing that, one, we create this center of power that we can work with and through and know that we don't even need at that point in time to worry about protection. One is already, that's already a given. Okay. And the aspect of the need for protection is an aspect, again, of fear. Truth be told. Okay. When we are thinking from the standpoint of all of us and the connection of oneness, then there's no, all we need to do is know that we are connected to the divine, and then we can do the work that's needed. And by sending love, it automatically calms everything. And the more we do that, I believe, is the more in touch with love and what love really is that we become connected with. And we're able to utilize more and more of that power. It's an invocative appeal that we use evocatively. We send it out and use it. Consider then the individuals who, for the first time, find their awareness focused in this world. They will be aware in that area that contains the forms either created or entertained by themselves, and those within their environment. So, whatever it is that we think, feel, fear, you name it, this is what they're talking about here. This is what is being spoken of. They will be aware in that area that contains the forms, either created or entertained, that which we create within ourselves or that which we entertain within ourselves, and those within their environment. If these individuals entertain fear of any kind, they will meet the object of their fear in form. If they believe in a devil or a hell, they will very likely see a devil, complete with horns and tail, in a flaming hell of brimstone and fire. If their thoughts are largely ugly, with jealousies, resentments, etc., they will meet them in form, without recognizing them as their own creation. And we can talk about that one. I know I can talk about that one. There's definitely, you know, I have had um, in my younger days, my own jealousies. Okay. Um, and it's true. We create it. We create it, and as a result, we find ourselves falling into that quagmire that we've created on our own, and we think it's something else that's done it. And we blame others. It's only us. Those within their environment who are closely related to them will also furnish this world with their created forms. The individual will then see and hear dreadful things that are a threat and a danger to them. They will see them as a reality of the astral plane, never recognizing them as their own created world, subject to their domination. This, then, will constitute their illusion, the fog that veils the light of truth. And this is from Nature of the Soul, which is a class that I teach. The aspirant, or that person who is new on the spiritual path, must cultivate fearlessness. Very key statement. Aspirants must accept first the fact that they are their only enemy. They no longer look upon others with fear and suspicion. They realize love for all and so establish right relationship. They turn the light of the soul upon their instrument and the surrounding environment, affecting the purification of the various aspects of their consciousness. Such ones will not be fooled by the forms contacted on the astral plane, but will know and coordinate their activities with the reality underlying it. So, one of the things we must realize as those who are seeking to walk the path, aspirants, probationers, disciples, depending on the level one is that our soul has the blueprint. It holds the blueprint within it of who we are to be in any particular lifetime. The method for connecting with that blueprint, obviously, is meditation. It's the key that unlocks the door of initiation, growth, evolution, understanding, being able to distill what that blueprint actually is, one, and begin to wear it, understand it, feel it, sense it, embody it. Okay? That's what meditation does. Bit by bit, when we go into meditation and we learn to connect on soul levels, on a soul level, that we are, there's a kind of a drip by drip within each meditation, even if you think nothing is going on. Okay? As long as you're willing to sit, as long as you are determined, committed, and you do it on an habitual basis, that distillation of your soul's blueprint automatically happens. And you begin to manifest that blueprint without even knowing that you're doing it sometimes. Relationships begin to change. What comes out of your mouth, all of a sudden you realize, wow, that's different. I never, or your thoughts, your insight shifts. At some point in time, your desire to bring goodwill into your environment and right relationship into your relationships changes. And you realize that, wow, there is more of me that's leaking out than I ever knew before. That's an indication of the beginnings of soul contact. Okay? Number two, attachment to phenomena, which serves to hold the student a prisoner to the world of form. This attachment ensues when the student contacts the astral plane without the adequate understanding to correctly interpret the astral form and without sufficient knowledge to handle the forces contacted therein. Students think they have reached the goal in the beauty of the form and strive no longer for spiritual perfection, but are led into the bypath of phenomenal experience of unduly long durations. Yes, the mystical path is, how do I say this? The astral is, I'm just not going to say that. No, that's not just the astral. The path itself has many branches, okay? Think of it as a tree. It has many different branches. We can easily become distracted and go off into a side branch, thinking that that's the end all be all. And there we can spin for a lifetime if we're not aware of it. Okay? That's what's being spoken about here. We can become attached to phenomena. I know someone who meditated consistently for long periods of time, and one day had happened upon in his meditation an absolutely amazing experience that he got hooked into and tried with every meditation to get back to that experience. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's being spoken here. Getting stuck in phenomena where you begin to just move in a rotary movement, a circular movement, and you can't get out of it because you're so seduced by that one moment that you seek to replicate it over and over and over again. That's not what the spiritual path is about. It's not about the phenomena. Every major spiritual teaching will tell you, do not become seduced or sucked in to the phenomena. Remain dispassionate. See it, you're aware of it, but you're not seduced by it. You keep moving because it's about where the meditation is taking you. It's not about that one moment that felt good. Okay? Such individuals will have behind them many incarnations of devoted and often fanatical aspiration. Their consciousness will be focused in the astral nature, and their experiences will be largely emotional. There you go. That's the key word right there. Largely emotional. Their vision of perfection will naturally constitute a form of great beauty and intricate design. In their meditation, they will contact their astral body, which will be highly emotional and of great strength. The sensory centers of their brain will be stimulated in such a way as to register the sight and sound of their inner astral visualizations, those forms that they have created during centuries of devoted thought. They will not recognize the form as their personality creation, but will accept it as the goal. Hence, the streets paved with gold, the angels with harps, etc., of many Christian religions. Such ones no longer aspire. They live in a dream world, content with its outer appearance of beauty, and are deaf to the call of service and a needy humanity. They then seek, in that point, and this is my addition to that paragraph, They're seeking to serve themselves, really, at that point. They're devotional to the moment, the feel-good moment. And they are deaf to the call of service and a needy humanity. Remember, the soul is not about the individual. The soul is about the group. The soul is focused on service to others. Okay? The soul is not about the self, which is why for long periods of time, lifetimes, the soul will not even pay attention to its vehicle until that vehicle begins to demonstrate, to sound the note, hold a frequency that says, I am aware of you, I seek you, I'm reaching up for you, out to you. And they're steadfast about it. That's when the soul begins to say, and they begin to live from a different frequency. That's when the soul knows, okay, my vehicle is ready for me. Let me pay attention here. Later, individuals may develop a certain psychic sensitivity to other forms on the astral plane. But because their attention is caught by the form, they will be incapable of correct interpretation. Very key point. And this point was made in the last paragraph too. Without sufficient knowledge to handle the forces contacted therein, students think they have reached the goal in the beauty of the form and strive no longer for spiritual perfection. So there are times, and I learned this very, very clearly in the nature of the soul lessons studies, that many times aspirants and probationers who are new on the spiritual path, just breaking into the spiritual periphery, will go into meditation or dream time and maybe get a portion of a message. And automatically, because of their lack of development, lack of spiritual maturity, it's just a given, it's just a part of the terrain, will feel that, this message is for me. The master is contacting me. Number one, they begin to think of themselves as being important, special. Number two, they have missed the message, the fullness of the message, by automatically thinking it applies to the persona. Okay? Again, the soul's focus is the group, not the persona necessarily. It's not the persona. The messages that come through a chain of connections from those that are closest to the inner circle, and they pass the messages down to those, eventually, the messages pass to those on the outer rim of the circle, so to speak. And those are usually the newbies, the aspirants, the probationers, so to speak, especially aspirants. So it is a way of development. It is a method of developing on a spiritual level to begin to release one's need for attention, to step away from the desire to be contacted by the master, so to speak, and to realize that we are all important. All of us are important. And that the master will never try to contact anyone on the level of the personality, ever. So when a message comes, or a piece of information, you get a piece of information, realize that it's probably only a piece, number one, okay? And write down whatever it is you've received and hold it. Think nothing more about it. Wait to see if the rest of it comes and see how it may apply, maybe in another month or within the month or within another, whatever, in a period of time. Realize that it's not personal. That's the most important thing. That way you don't go off into these branches and start spinning in a rotary motion, not getting anywhere, and you don't realize it. As it says here, they will be the recipient of astral force without the ability to handle it. They may have visions, hear voices, foretell the future, what have you, but there will be little of spiritual significance in what they do. Their inability to handle astral force will gradually lead to a deterioration of the instrument, resulting often in disease, insanity, and death. Now, do we need it any clearer? Really, it's obviously this is saying that it sets up the astral force that is off kilter, creates illness, leads to deterioration of the instrument, the vehicle, our physicality, if it's not caught at its inception, and results in disease, insanity, and death. It cannot get any clearer than that. It's dangerous, people. It's very dangerous. So much we can imagine of what many are experiencing who so-called hear voices, among other things. All of the different maladies that many are experiencing are because of an inability to handle astral force. Which is why it's also important, and yeah, the importance of working the entire body, mind, spirit, the all of the connections, working the physical, working out the physical, walking, running, whatever, yoga, tai chi, you name it. That helps to put things in place. Our body informs us as we move, and we try to make it a pristine environment for spiritual energies to work within. Okay? It's always important that our physical, it's always stated, make sure you have a strong body. This attitude constitutes a strong mental body. Journaling. When we journal, amazingly enough, we begin to see in black and white what it is we're thinking. Okay? The thought might think, it might feel like it's perfect inside, but when we actually put it down on paper, that's all of a sudden when you see, oh my God, what needs to be corrected, or where things might be a little bit off. And you can straighten that out. That's why one of the reasons why journaling is so important. So body, mind, spirit, that connection is very important, all of it. This attitude constitutes one of the greatest dangers to all aspirants. Therefore, I say to you, do not look for phenomena. Do not concentrate upon the development of psychic sensitivity. Wait until you have acquired an understanding of truth. As your spiritual perception is developed, there will be a parallel development of extrasensory perception that will be utilized with wisdom. I think about, as I'm reading this, the thought comes up about all these people who are trying to raise their kundalini. Dangerous, very dangerous. The kundalini will rise on its own when it's time, but forcing it, trying to force it, again, leads to deterioration of the instrument, resulting often in disease, insanity, and death. It's not a good thing to do. Wait until you've acquired an understanding of truth. As your spiritual perception is developed, there will be a parallel development of extrasensory perception that will be utilized with wisdom. If you do register a vision, hear a voice, etc., attach no importance to it. Look for truth in abstract form. What does that mean? Look for truth in abstract form. When they talk about the abstract form, they're talking about higher mind. Okay? Not the lower mind. The lower mind is the throat center. It's that area of that which we know, all that we have been taught. And then we get together, oh, did you hear that? Blah, 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 and I heard that blah, 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 and then you're bringing in things that you learned from university or college or things that you've read. That's concrete knowledge. Centers around the throat center. Abstract mind is the higher mind. Ideas are birthed in the abstract mind. The meditation that we are taught, and we are being primed for in these particular lessons, not necessarily within all of the lessons with this, but it's taking you into that aspect of beginning to work with, at some point in time, the abstract mind, where you meditate. You align, you make your alignment. You go into meditation proper. You sound a particular seed thought and allow the frequency of that seed thought to what's the right word? Allow the frequency of that seed thought to sound for as long as you can follow it, and just follow it even after you no longer can hear its frequency. You know that it's still there. You recall an aspect of its nature, so you keep following it. And when you do that, that automatically creates a return of energy that you begin to feel an impression of in the higher mind. It's like a weight. And you allow that to precipitate. And then before you come out of that meditation, you go into that area where you felt that weight, that space that seems to be getting fuller and fuller. And you try to place words, form into words the energy of that precipitation. It's like feeling into the dark, feeling in the darkness for something that you know is there. And when you first start to do this, sometimes you think you're just making it up, and you might very well be, and it's okay. But the more you do it, the more you do it, you begin to feel in and you begin to really understand or sense a feeling, an energetic sense of what has been precipitated in that space. That's abstract mind, feeling into the abstract mind. Look for truth in abstract form, this says. Look for truth in the abstract. Later, you will be able to give it concrete form without losing touch with reality. Then yours will be a gift of interpretation and service to the race. So the concepts and ideas that can be precipitated into abstract mind very often are ideas, and for the most part, are ideas and concepts that have never been brought to earth before. And each of us have the ability to do that. Okay? If we are, if we want to, if we are interested, if we are determined and are willing to discipline ourselves. And by bringing that information through, writing it down consistently or sharing it with a group, that's why it says it's a gift of interpretation and service to the human race. Number 3, refusal to recognize the existence of the astral plane, which causes students to inhibit their own emotional nature, closes the door to extrasensory perception, and makes it utterly impossible for them to engage in creative activity. We don't want to do this. We don't want to limit ourselves in any sense. The astral body and astral plane is the power factor in manifestation. This is important. Until it is understood, controlled, and properly directed, the student cannot engage in creative work. Astral energy gives the mental form the substance that ensures its manifestation in physical form. This is true of any work of art, as well as the service rendered to humanity. So again, I mentioned this in the last session. The astral body and the astral plane is called the power factor of manifestation. Okay? The power factor of manifestation. That, to me, is the most important aspect of the astral body and astral plane. It's not about getting angry, being sad, all of those emotional things, which we do within the astral, of course, or the emotional body. This is the most important thing because being a power factor of manifestation means that there is a whole use of the astral body that we have been uninformed about. There's a whole purpose to the astral body that we do not know of. The astral body is part and one of the most important parts of what we call the creative process. Anything that we seek to create, be it art, be it a business, a relationship, a new job, a trip, anything that we seek to create, it starts in the mental. It starts with the divine, really. That's where it starts. It starts with the divine. We create in alignment with the divine plan. We seek to make sure that that which we want to create is in alignment with the divine plan. Okay? And then we go about what is it we seek to create? What are its components? What do we want to include? What are all the factors that are necessary? And what are the factors that are necessary to release so that it can be created within the most pristine gestational energies? Okay? And once we are clear about all of that, then once we know that there's nothing else needed to be tweaked, then it moves down into the astral body. And the astral body, we're feeling that energy of feeling and desire and motivation and all of that can go right into it and create that thing. It's the power factor in manifestation, really. Until it is understood, controlled, and properly directed, the student cannot engage in creative work. Astral energy gives the mental form the substance that ensures its manifestation in physical form. So there's a stage even after the astral body has worked on it that brings it into actual manifestation. This is true of any work of art as well as the service rendered to humanity. The student who refuses to accept the astral plane as anything other than complete illusion usually does so because they have seen how fear of an attachment to it have blinded others to truth. They are mentally polarized and usually contemptuous of emotionalism. They are determined to avoid the mistake of their brothers and so consider the entire subject of the astral body and the emotional nature as false. As I've said before, in creative thinking, the studies of creative thinking that came before Soul and Its Instrument, if you haven't reviewed it, you may want to. Humanity is moving from an emotional polarization into a mental polarization. It doesn't mean that we will not have emotions. It just means that we will be better aware of how they're to be used if they're needed. We will be at greater choice than we have been in humanity's adolescence, so to speak. Humanity is maturing. All of this chaos that we're experiencing right now is part of that maturation period, because how many of us now are realizing that that which we've been conditioned to believe has been false? We're waking up. Absolutely necessary, regardless of how egregious it may seem. So, and again, this is important. Because so many of us within the collective, because so many within the collective may not know and understand the teachings, the spiritual teachings, and be able to register what's going on and have a better sense as to how to handle it. Okay. There are, as a result of that, there's a lot of astral goop out there for us to navigate. And the inner work of a group of people like yourselves, like all of you who are here, who are interested and connected and seeking to understand this wisdom in deeper and deeper ways and apply it and embody it. You are part of and become eventually part of what is known as the fifth kingdom, the kingdom of conscious souls. That bridgeway between humanity and the guides and protectors of the human race. Okay? At some point to become the guides and protectors of the human race. So it is important for us to be able to transmute these energies, take them into meditation, transmute them. This astral goop, this astral plane, this astral collective soup of fear, anger, pain that we are experiencing within the sisterhood and brotherhood of humanity has to be transmuted. And that is what we're going to be working a little bit with at the end of this session in meditation, okay? We redeem the substance, the fear, the anger, the pain, all of that is stuff, substance, shadow, the shadow of humanity that has to be redeemed. And the only way we can do it, the way to do it, is through transmutation, okay? Taking that substance and lifting it into, or opening it up so that the light of the divine can shine upon it and lift it into its higher octaves, okay? Shift it from the shadow into pure light with a capital L, and that becomes substance that can be used for the benefit of all because it's redeemed. They seek to work solely upon the mental plane, building form after form that they must meet sooner or later upon the astral plane. Because of this attitude, their thought forms cannot take material form. And now we're talking about those who are more on the mental level rather than the astral. Therefore, they are frustrated in all their attempts to manifest truth in the world in which they live. All of these attitudes delay the necessary integration of the threefold instrument and ultimate soul awareness. I shall ask each of you to eliminate from your minds all of the preconceived ideas you've accumulated anent the astral plane before continuing with the next lesson in 2 weeks. Dare to throw out all of the so-called knowledge you've acquired and begin the study of this subject with a fresh, uncluttered mind. And we will finish this session. If there are no questions, or are there questions? Is there anybody who'd like to ask a question or make a statement of any kind? Contribute a statement? Go ahead, Hannah.
Just like to say, this is so thick. This is so thick. I just feel like I have been slogging my way through it from the 30 years, for 40, I mean, just for a very long time. It's just very heavy. It's very thick. It's very,
Yes,
it's impossible, is what it feels
it
like.
feels, it does. I know. It feels impossible, but guess what? Remember, we signed up for this.
All I can do is just, it's just me and my heart, and I just hold it, and I don't see visions, and I don't hang out on the astral plane, and I mean, it's not attractive to me. I don't like it, I guess. Anyway,
Okay. So I hear in what you're saying. I hear in what you're saying aspects of mm, higher thought forms about what it is and what it isn't, maybe accompanied with a bit of fear. Okay, I understand that. Go ahead.
my
I'm
whole,
sorry.
I'm sorry, just most likely I have been fearful,
Yes.
deep fearful my whole life. I don't feel like I'm in fear, but I get away from things very quickly if there is anything that's disruptive to my peace.
Okay. Um, I would suggest, because we are all here. I mean, we're here to master our matter. Okay, we are here to be in control of things on the various planes that are part of our lives. Okay, and we cannot say that we are doing the work if we can't stand in it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we have to, as it said, embody a certain level of fearlessness, one, knowing that there is nothing out there that can harm, two, that we have the ability to invoke that which we need, three, okay? And part of our work, depending on the level that one is living as a spiritual being, is an aspect of continuity of consciousness. That means that we can stand aware in sleep time, the dream time, just as, and bring that information through into awake time. Go ahead.
Should we be attempting to do that? I mean, is this like a conscious, I want to remember my dreams? Is that important to this development? Or can you just trust that? I mean, I know I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life, and I feel less fearful than I've ever felt. And it's crazy out there, but I'm just not going out there. You know what I mean? If it faces me, I deal with it, but otherwise, I'm just holding that all is right with the world, and I'll be able to deal with whatever comes up.
Okay. I think, mm, are you part of a group?
Not
Spiritual?
in years. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay. Solitaire. Okay. If you're a solitaire, then it becomes a little bit more, what's the word? It helps, I really believe, and everybody. It helps to be a part of a group like this group right here, okay, where we are meeting together and we're talking about it on a regular basis. But it helps when we're part of a group. Continuity of consciousness is an aspect of an alignment in meditation. It takes an aspect of alignment in your meditation, in your preparation to go to sleep. Okay. That's taught in Nature of the Soul, how to do that. But basically, it's really basically hmm, moving into your higher alignment without a lot of force, sitting in that alignment and knowing when you're there, going to sleep. It's an aspect of going to night school. Okay. And by being in that ashramic group, okay, when you sleep, that automatically affords you a certain amount of things. It might be lessons, it might be interaction, it'll be all of those things. And then you awaken, and sometimes when you awaken as a result of that, you are awakening with a different kind of concept in your mind that has come from that being in that station that you automatically put down on paper. Write it down because you will not remember it if you don't. Okay? So it's part of the inner alignment. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And then to be able to hold that inner consciousness that knows what it is you are connected with and what you are emanating from, okay, that can stand in front of anything that feels intimidating, okay? Hold that power, hold that inner power, and utilize that inner power to do the work, whether it's love, whether it's all of a sudden an awareness of saying something that is coming from the alignment, not coming from the throat chakra. Concrete knowledge, it's not coming from there, it's coming from the alignment because that's where you're working from. You're working on soul levels. It's a totally different energy. Yes, being a solitary in this time is it's not the easiest. Um, but being a solitary, you have the ability to ask for a teacher if you want, or a spiritual family that can support you. Okay. Um, and see it coming. Okay. There's no coincidence that you're here. Overwhelming, Gemma says. And Gemma says, total transparency here, transmutating the darkness is the mission, but I swear sometimes I just want to slap the stupid out of them. I love that, Gemma. Ah, okay. Ah, Gemma says she is an incarnation or fractal of the violet flame, very important flame for the Aquarian age. Thank you. And the violet flame energy is incarnating now on Mars, on this planet for the first time. The planet isn't used to it yet. No, it's coming in and it's coming in strong. Prepare for meditation, please. Sitting up straight, close your eyes and take a deep breath. And as you release it, relax the physical body. Send that message to your nervous system to relax the physical body, knowing that it will obey. Take another deep breath. And as you release it, calm the emotions. Take another deep breath. And as you release it, focus the mind. And a fourth deep breath. And upon releasing it, move into the ajna center, 2 to 3 inches beyond the brow, the center of your brows. Focused within the ajna center, integrate the threefold persona, meaning your body, your emotions, and your mind, into a single unit in aspiration to the soul, meaning focusing the energy of your ajna, using it as a magnet to magnetize any residual energies of the body straight up the spine, into the mind, and then directly out, magnetically drawn into the ajna center. And you can do this with your breath. Inhale, focus on that particular center, body, emotions, mind, and see it moving up the spine or the central channel into the mind and magnetically drawn all the way into the ajna center. Take some time to do that. And know that as you integrate the threefold persona, you are doing so into a single unit in aspiration to the soul. From within the Ajna center, without any particular focus as to location, focus on your soul. Sending love to your soul from the Ajna center. And when you feel that connection of love with the soul, sound a silent Om. At the same time, move your awareness, keeping the body, mind, and emotions, body, emotions, and mind in the Ajna center. Just simply move your awareness horizontally through the brow, the center between the brow, into the center of your head. See a line of light that connects the center in your head to the Ajna center, and allow your awareness to move along that line of light into the center of your head, about 2 to 3 inches behind the eyes. This center we call the cave in the head. Here, within the cave, integrate the threefold soul: the animal soul, your human soul, and your spiritual soul into a single unit in aspiration to the Christ. That higher aspect of your being, as we are all here to become adult sons and daughters of the Christ. We are all here to become Christed. Superhuman. As the soul in the cave, align outward via the Ajna center with the astral emotional instrument. So touching into and making sure that there's reciprocity between the Ajna center and the cave. And contemplate all the thoughts, all the preconceived ideas in your mind that you have accumulated about the astral plane. And invoke the light of the soul into the mind in the cave and the astral instrument. Invoke the light of the soul to reveal, cleanse, and purify all the ideas and thought forms you have accumulated up to now, anent the astral emotional body. Realize that as you cleanse these thought forms and ideas, you also do so for humanity at large. See this purification and cleansing of all ideas, fallacies, and thought forms around the astral emotional body being dispelled by the light of the soul, being transmuted by the light of the soul, being redeemed by the light of the soul. Know that as you redeem these thought forms, fears, ideas, as these energies are transmuted within you, they are also transmuted within humanity at large. So you are working as agents of transmutation when you do this work. Allow the light of the soul to find all the dark spaces, all the shadows in need of transmutation, all the fears, and feel what it feels like within your body as these shadows and dark places are being lighted, transmuted, redeemed. Experience the lightness of being. Experience the shift in your consciousness, in your emotional body, and in your mental body. And audibly sound the Om. Om. Relax the attention and slowly return to normal focus. Now you have this on audio or recording rather. So this is a meditation that you can do over and over again as often as you need. I look forward to seeing everybody 2 weeks from now. It's the first and third Sunday. Thank you so much. It's an honor, my honor, to have you all here. Really, really it is. It touches my heart. Thank you so much. I hope this session is something that you can utilize over and over again, and that each of these lessons from now on, you'll be getting 6 lessons ideally together, okay, that you can work with or reread, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Take good care. Till the next time. Bye bye.